and welcome to some new faces. We're going to have more proper introductions and check-ins, but just acknowledging that we have Odin in our call from Huehue, and we have some new people also joining us from Linden. Lorena, Kati, and Noah, welcome. So thank you so much. Some of you are here very early or very late. We try to have one call with everybody, which is almost impossible. For those of you who are new, we're stretching kind of from the west coast of the Americas all the way across to New Zealand with a lot of stops in between. So it's very hard to have everybody in the call at the same time. Welcome, Siska. Nice to have you here. Siska is also new, joining us from Gen Europe. And you see that Abby, who is our amazing project coordinator and community practice supporter, she launched our language interpretation. So we are trying to create more language justice within our community of practice, which means we have simultaneous interpretation between English and French. And if it will be needed in the future, we can also have it in, say, English and Spanish, for example, which is another one of our big languages. That means that Eve is here translating for us. All right, so welcome. We might have a few more people dropping in, and we're also having another smaller call on Thursday for those for whom this time is very uncomfortable. And I'm very excited to see you. Very, very excited to see you. It's been a long time, and it felt important to me to meet before some of us go off on holidays of many different kinds, summer, winter, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever we celebrate. Because we wanted to start our weaving together. But the honest truth is that we are all arriving a little tired, a little not ready with everything. So we still have questions that we don't know, that we haven't figured out. We have the team sort of still settling in. So we are coming with invitations and information, but also to hear your questions so that we can weave them into how we co-design as we kind of go ahead. So this call is mostly to connect or reconnect, to meet each other again, hear what's happened in our communities. And then I will give a little more overview of the project and how you can engage and participate in different ways. And that's pretty much it for the call today. I'm going to hand over to you, Luia.
Thank you, Anna. And wonderful to see you all again or for the first time. Really a great pleasure to at least begin kind of the beginning of a journey together. As Anna said, we were all a bit in the weeds with also other things that took our attention, and grateful that we just have this landing badge together. I think before then in next year we really can launch together fully. As some of us know each other and some of us are also new, I mean, I guess to all of you who have not been on our 2 years COP calls here, you have heard probably already quite something of the project, otherwise you would not be here. So I assume we just haven't seen you, but you have probably seen us or at least heard of us as a community of practice. I suggest that we start with just one word of check-in so that we kind of get a sense of with what atmospheres are we all coming to this call, and that we then would go into small breakout groups to either get to know each other or reconnect with each other, just seeing how have we been since the last time we officially closed the first round of this journey, this exploration of how resilience can look like in so many parts and different contexts around the globe as part of the Global Ecovillage Network. And we will hear again back, just also having a sense, even though we are in breakout rooms, so we can go more in depth, but then also hearing the essences back. And then as Anna shared, she will guide us through what has been envisioned so far. And we will also have enough time for Q&A, which seems important. we'll take a little look ahead over the 12 nights for the ones of you who have been part of that last year, and then also do a check. But for now, maybe we can just, someone starts. We use this kind of imaginary talking stick with one word of how are you coming to this call, or how are you present right now? And then handing it over to the next person. So just that we do a little kind of weaving across the different parts of the globe we are calling in from.
Curiously, and I pass it to Tanya.
Hopeful, passing to Lorena, Kati, Noah.
Lorena, curious.
Kati, with love.
Noah, interested.
We pass to coffee.
Ok, merci. Bon, je suis venu avec beaucoup d'espoir. Bien que je suis sorti un peu d'une maladie, eh ben, ça va mieux. Donc, je suis venu avec beaucoup d'espoir.
Do you want to hand it over to the next person?
Bon, je ne sais pas, est-ce que Macaco, elle y a parlé. Bon, on n'est même pas nombreux apparemment. Lena, Cathy, Noah, déjà. Ok, alors là, Abby, est-ce que tu as déjà parlé?
I am arriving, tuning in, and I will pass to Angel.
My word is network, and I'll pass it over to Suvi.
Subi?
Subi, are you with us?
No.
Was it me? I cannot hear everyone for some reason yet, but I'm arriving quite complete in a way, ready for this year already to finish it up. And I will pass to Mohan.
Yeah, hello, welcome everyone. I'm coming with a sense of reunion. Good to see familiar faces, that we are back on a task again. And it's good to tie in back at the start of a new year what's really important for us. So happy to be here. I'll pass to Kayla.
Okay, my word is integrating. And maybe I'll pass to Gio if we didn't hear you yet.
Thank you. My word is looking forward. And I want to introduce everybody to my colleague and good friends, Odin Cruz, who's joining us from the Huehuecoyo community. So I'll pass it on to Odin.
Hi, thank you, Giovanni. I guess reintegrating, interested, you know, like in a good vibe to see you all. Thank you. I pass it to, sorry, who I have here. Tanya already. Yves.
We don't hear you, Yves.
He's in the French canal.
No. I don't hear it. Maybe you're in a different channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That works.
Thank you. I feel energized. It's been a long time since I've seen many of you, and that only invites more energy to me. It's such a joy to reconnect. Okay, I'll pass to Allison.
Thanks, Devin. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see faces. One word, deja vu is how I'm feeling in a really good way. I pass to Robin.
Hello, everybody. My word is anticipation. Really looking forward to our journey together. And I pass to Art and Ronald.
My word is anticipation.
My word is happy to meet again. And we pass it on to Trudy. Yeah.
Morning, everyone. My word actually words is full circle. Nice to be here. Sorry, I'm late as well. It's very early where I am. I pass to Luia or Anna.
Excited. And I pass to Koto, who has joined us.
Oui, bonsoir tout le monde. Bienvenue à tout le monde et heureux d'être avec vous. J'ai des soucis avec mon mail, donc je suis avec Kofi chez lui, à la maison, pour participer à la réunion. Merci.
Avec quel état tu es arrivé à la réunion?
Non, c'est très fascinant, hein? Je suis enthousiasmé d'être encore avec vous. Merci.
Margarita, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. And my word will be reconnection. And I think I pass it to you.
Thank you. My word is landing in a warm container. Still feels like as if it's warm from our journey from before. And I hand it over to you, Siska.
Hello. My word is curious, and that's the word. And I pass to, I don't know now who's left.
I think now.
Marcia. Yes, I pass to you because I know you.
Yes. I feel a lot of enthusiasm to be here together. It's so great.
Well, thank you all. Yes, I think now we are complete indeed. Well, thank you all for being here. We would now go into a breakout. How are you and your community? What has happened since we last saw each other? And for the ones who are joining here for the first time, maybe you have been part in some form or way. Maybe what has happened since you were last in contact with the project. And also may have there been changes, challenges, or highlights that you had in your community for yourself, but also maybe in the context that you're based in. And is there also something that has happened in relation to resilience that really feel kind of important to share or update each other on, being it continuous further exploration of that what has come out of our journey before, or other events or updates that are feeling relevant for this group. Have wonderful conversations, and we look forward to come back in 20 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. We would love to hear a few words or a few voices just from things that touched you or moved you, hearing from each other. And there is someone waving to us. Hello, hello. Great to have you. Yeah, before we then actually dive into what's the next project that's in the making, that's cooking. Which group would like to share a little bit? Thank you, Siska.
Then Ronald, you're clapping. Do you want to say something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was raising a hand, but maybe.
Go.
But I meant this.
It was clap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's just got a short. I mean, we talked with Suvi from Finland, and I'm very, very excited. You know, there's just 3 words: seed bank, freedom. I'm really so happy that this is happening, and we need to do it everywhere. So, yeah, amen. Should I pass it on? Oh no, it's voluntary, right?
Yeah, Margarita has her hand up. And we could just tell those of you who were not here before that Suvi, who is from a community in Finland called Keuru, they were planning to make like a locally appropriate seed bank. I will not say so much about it, but basically that's it. And it sounds like it's moved on. So just to contextualize that a little bit, really looking at how communities can become stewards of seeds and build resilience in that way. Sorry, Margarita.
Thank you. And I also celebrate a seed bank. We are a seed bank of beautiful ideas and inspirations. So I also feel like part of this process is kind of that we are like in a cocoon, developing or processing what we did in the project before. And it being more practical, like bringing the great amount of things that I'm dreaming about when I touch into the field of resilience in Gen. We have some events next year that will be awesome to take advantage of. So just in Casa, we have the Call of the Mountain in the Amazon region in January. Then we have the ECO, that is the gathering of the whole Casa network in Argentina. Then, and also this is linked to the Gen 30 anniversary all around the world, and we hope in many places as well. And then we also have the COP of Climate in Brazil, probably between November and December. So I think these are events that allowed us to put in practice many of the harvest of what we have done, but also harvest more and put in service of the movement of scaling up the ecovillage approaches and proposals with yeah. So I think next year is going to be an interesting year. I'm looking forward to it. No, it's a lot of work, but I feel we are a very strong team. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Margarita. And it's so wonderful to know that there are these stepping stones of gatherings happening in the next few months throughout the year. And I'm sure when we put our calendars together, there are multiple things. Maybe it's good to actually name that to each other so we can think of each other, strengthen the field, maybe connect our own networks to it. Beautiful. Thank you. Is there anyone else who likes to share from your breakout session? And I also see Tanya, you shared here in the chat. Thank you for that. Well, otherwise, I hand over to you, Anna, to give us a little overview of the map that is awaiting us.
Great. I will try to be succinct and clear and wonderful. I am quite tired. Most of you have heard me speak about the project, the Keystone Communities project before, and I also sent out a presentation that's more like really from the project application. So it's using that kind of language and me presenting that on video. So I'm going to not repeat that. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and take a look at the video. Maybe it's 15, 18 minutes. And today I want to focus a little bit more on what are we actually doing? Like, what are the opportunities to participate? What are the activities? What can we expect of each other? And what kind of, support and exchanges will go on? So I'm going to share my screen and share another presentation with you. So here it is, our project called Keystone Communities, Sustaining Life Through Polycrisis. And I'll say a little bit about what that means when we go into the presentation, but that's also more in my other presentation. But it really is, sustaining life through polycrisis, that means that we're acknowledging the turbulent times that we are in with climate disaster and many other challenges, and looking at how can ecovillages play a really deeply positive role in how we navigate that. And how can we play an important role navigating that as something that we're calling Keystone Communities. And a Keystone Community is really part of this bigger dream that lies behind this project of marrying ecovillages and the dream of ecovillages with the times we're in and with resilience, social, ecological, personal, and interpersonal resilience for the benefit of all life. So really recognizing that human life and other than human life are intimately interconnected. We're interdependent with nature. We are nature, yeah. And if we want to navigate and thrive and live well, we need to do that together with an awareness that we need to steward all life and take care of all forms of life together. So the dream behind the project is really this, like a world where local communities are strongholds, safety nets, and sources of resilience and regeneration during crisis, not only for human beings, but for all life. And a Keystone community, putting it here because I feel like these are like the values that kind of guide our exploration here, is first of all a community that has the health and well-being of all of life at the heart and who knows how to design local systems to benefit both social and ecological elements there. They're also based on values that encourage long-term thinking. So how can we not throw out our long-term sustainability when we are navigating some turbulence? And also solidarity between people and the rest of nature. And also communities that know how to use culture and creativity to nurture the human soul as an important element of what it means to navigate well, right? And that are resilient, right? So able to absorb shocks, avoid tipping points, and keep working for regeneration and transformation also when we are doing that. So that's like what's at the heart of it. And then let's go more into what we're actually going to do. So I've divided it into 4 kind of strands of activities that all contribute to what we're going to do together. And this is my overview. I'm going to talk you through each one a little bit. But first, we have our community of practice. This is here. That's our online space where we're going to keep sharing stories and learning. We're going to build connections and solidarity across our different regions, our different communities. We're going to spend some time with the personal resilience, like telling those stories about what we're living through, our challenges, but also our own resilience and building connections. We're going to explore the values of a Keystone community. What could that even be in our places together? We're going to do trainings. So we're going to train each other and ourselves in using all of the tools that we're creating throughout the project. And we're going to welcome new people in because we're going to be more open than before. So in our previous project, we were one group of people, okay, some comings and goings, but fairly together, doing the same thing the whole time. And this time, we are a little bit more permeable. So we're going to welcome new people at certain points. And we're going to be doing different things. So there are many different ways to engage. One of those ways to engage is to do local activities. And they are activities that are led by you. So they're like led by members of the community practice in your places, not necessarily in your eco-village, but in your region or in your or in another community or like within your network, there. And there's going to be some opportunities to do resilience trainings and workshops. There's going to be opportunities to do resilience assessments if you want to do that with another group. We're also going to do some pilots and prototypes of what would make us or my community or region more resilient? And how can we test and play with some of the things that we're creating through the project? I love that my numbers are the wrong way around, by the way. I just noticed that now. That's a sign of how my week is. And I said we were tired, so. And we're also going to have local activities for those who want to dive more into like visions and pathways and stories of looking at what can it mean to be a Keystone community. Again, I'll come back to it. We're going to have working groups. So we're going to have different groups to join depending on what you're interested in. And we're going to look at things like risk and local action, like how can we understand tipping points and global risk and climate change in our local context in a way that helps us act wisely and plan. We're going to be innovating and co-creating some early warning systems for communities so that we can be well prepared and know, when things are changing and tipping. We're going to be looking at preparedness and first response when things go wrong or when there is some form of disaster or, the systems around us break down. How can we meet that, again, with the health and well-being of all life at the heart and the solidarity between people at heart? And we're going to be looking more at art and story for resilience and recovery. And there will also be a working group for those who are facilitating trainings. So for anybody who's kind of running a training, we'll have a little like trainers working group. Oh, Misha is here. We'll let him in. And then finally, we have a traditional ecovillages space. And that comes from acknowledging that in our network, we are often unbalanced between intentional and traditional ecovillages. And we really wanted to give more space for members of traditional and indigenous communities to get together and to kind of fine-tune and change and build solidarity there, and also to input into the bigger project. So that's going to be an online group, but also a chance for 8 people to meet in person at any gathering. Actually, I said the European Ecovillage gathering, but they could also meet at the COP or at the ECHO or something like that. Where am I? So here's just a little bit more in detail. So I already said it's a space for sharing reflections and stories and learning. Keep building that. We're going to be meeting as a whole group here. So this would be like the place where we weave together the different working groups and the different strands, right? And you can choose. You can be a member of this main community of practice without being part of a working group. So you could just show up here and be part of that learning and training. Everyone also who is part of a local training or a regional training cohort online, which I'll talk about more, is welcome to join the community of practice. So if you organize a training in your place, your participants, if they want to and if they're interested, they can become part of our bigger of our learning community here. So that's how it will grow, and we'll include more people. And people who join will have some training and will join in like specific calls to integrate them. So we'll have a rhythm of like welcoming people. And there's not, like in contrast to last time, there's not going to be financial compensation for like being part just of those calls. You're going to receive a lot of training, chances to do many things, but we don't have the finances to really resource like just being at the meetings. There's finances for other stuff. We have the working groups. We don't know yet exactly what that's going to look like. We just know that we want to co-create a bunch of stuff together with you. So there will be some form of research and peer learning. There'll probably be online workshops where we kind of train ourselves or invite experts to help us out. There'll be local testing and activities, and we're producing new tools and resources. So the point of like the working groups is kind of co-creation of resources for communities to do these different things that we kind of said were important. So risk, tipping points and local action, monitoring and early warning systems, preparedness and first response, and art and story for resilience and recovery. And the idea behind that whole package, which I'll get to before, is kind of like how can we help communities through the whole way, right? So kind of like assessing risk and planning and using scenarios to kind of plan well, to monitor, and have early warning systems to be prepared and to respond, and then also to recover and rebuild, and all the while doing that while nurturing resilience. So the idea is really to develop something together that can support communities wherever they are on that scale where sooner or later we're all going to navigate, you know, our own disturbances. So that's the working groups. It's going to be by interest, so you can participate in what you're interested in and commit to what you're interested in, because it would be really nice to have kind of little committed groups that are working there. And there, for that kind of co-research and testing and activities, there is some financial compensation for that. Local activities. Again, you can train people in your region to think about and strengthen resilience in different ways. You can choose to guide another group or community through a resilience assessment, like what we did in the previous project. You can pilot and test something that will build resilience. Maybe you realized in the previous project that, like, you know, we really need to increase our food production, and you have a quick way of prototyping what that could look like, or you want to implement something that you figured out in the resilience tracker that you don't have in place. So there's a chance for doing that. Or you want to pilot some new thing. Maybe you want to implement the new early warning system in your community, for an example, or do some other work that's more kind of emergent through this project. Or you really want to dive deeper into story and art, right? And engage more with the concept and thinking really creatively about what a Keystone community could be. And for all of those, there is financial compensation, right? So you'll have, I'll get more into like really the details, but we have some budget and we will decide together how to spend that. So we have budget for trainings, we have budget for local prototypes and testing, we have budget for assessments, and we will see who wants to do what, and then we will decide together as a community how we want to allocate our resources. And then finally, we have the Traditional Indigenous Ecovillage Council, which really is exactly what it says. It's just a space for people from traditional indigenous ecovillages to meet, to strengthen bonds, strengthen perspectives, surface learning that maybe doesn't show up so much when we're everybody together, and to give input and share with the community practice to help us have less blind spots when it comes to traditional communities. And also help shape the tools so that they are really deeply relevant for everybody. And there is financial compensation for both the online part, and we have funds to cover an in-person meeting somewhere. Again, I thought about the European Ecovillage Gathering, where we will also celebrate Jen's 40th birthday and Gaia Education's 30th birthday, but it could really be wherever the group wants to get together. All of that together becomes our Keystone Communities toolkit. So that's what I mean, we're like weaving it together. And that is resilience training and assessments that we did in the previous project, the new tools and resources we're producing now, strengthening the traditional ecovillage perspective, and really looking together at what could it mean to be a Keystone community and telling stories about that and communicating that to the world, which will be like our whole kit together. Here is a little mini timeline, and this might shift and change a little bit, but here's kind of what we're thinking. So we are in December. We are reconvening, and we're going to invite you to think about if you want to do local activities and trainings. So that's kind of next. And then in February, we would like to select which trainings and assessments we're going to do together. So our community practice meeting in like late February will be about that. And we're also going to launch our online course. And we plan, I don't know if you remember that we created an online course in the previous project, and we want to run that together with all the Gen regions, which we still have to talk to you about regions. I know we haven't ironed out the details, but basically inviting members of all the Gen regions to take that course together to really spread the word and also to invite more communities into our work. Yeah, you can probably see, I think our working groups will probably be starting around April, May for going into the research. In August, if the Global South or traditional communities want to meet at the Ecovillage Gathering in Europe, it will be in Hungary. In September, we would like the local trainings and assessments to be done. And then things are kind of becoming a little bit more loose. But we do know that in the end of the project, we want everybody who's part of the community practice to be trained in using all of the tools that we're creating. So that's the last like 3 months we're kind of saving for that. And if I'm not, yes. So I have a little bit more about like the online training and the local trainings, but I think I'm going to stop there for now and just, I feel like I talked a lot and I don't want to take up all the time. Hope that was at least a little bit useful to you. I feel like I was a bit rambling. So I will come with a clear invitation for doing local trainings and activities and talk a little bit more about the online course. But if you have any other kind of thoughts, input, questions about the other pieces. Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Anne and Ronald. Est-ce que vous avez une question, Koto? Oui.
Oui, allô?
Oui, oui, oui. Je vous entends.
Oui, merci Anna pour la présentation. C'est vrai que c'est un peu dense avec les différents calendriers qui sont notés. Mais la première question que je voulais poser par rapport aux différentes composantes, selon les séquences-là, est-ce que quelqu'un qui veut développer des activités locales peut appartenir à la même, au groupe de travail ou bien peut faire partie des personnes engagées en termes de recherche, voilà, de la production des outils. Est-ce qu'une seule personne peut faire tout ce travail-là? Voilà. Est-ce que c'est possible? Ça, c'est la première question. Maintenant, la deuxième question. Oui, la deuxième question, est-ce qu'on aura d'autres détails par rapport aux différentes composantes de ces différentes activités? Merci.
Yes, you will definitely. So you're welcome to join as much or as little as you want. We're really happy to have you in whatever respect you wanna be here. And there will be more, like I said, with some of the new tools, we are not sure yet exactly, and we'll probably co-create a bit of the methodology together with you in the new year. For the local trainings, we created a pretty detailed brief, and we're going to send that out to you. I'm going to talk a little bit about it now, and then we'll send it out to you with the requirements and for who the training can be and everything like that. So we'll go step by step, and we'll start with the local activities. Margarita.
Thank you, Anna. I also feel that I talk too much, but if nobody else wants to talk, I will. No, I want to deeply celebrate that we were able to have these materials in Spanish. That means a lot for the CASA network and the whole Latin America communities. And this objective, this common aim of engaging more with the local communities, with grassroots communities and traditional communities is also, it's going to be possible also because this extra effort to have a translation, no? So I appreciate that and celebrate that. And also the part of engaging more with the storytelling and arts and the spiritual part, I think it's really a great contribution that we are making in the whole world of new proposals of overcoming climate change or mitigation and climate or taking care of biodiversity. From the COP of biodiversity that we just ended a couple of weeks ago, it was very clear that these new concepts that are more now in the mainstream narrative are things that we have been talking about, and not just talking about, but living and really putting in practice. So I think it's wonderful that we have all these tools, and thank you for kind of bringing that into a common path and invite us to do that. So thank you. I'm looking forward to see how we can contribute.
Thanks, Margarita. And we also have funds like to keep doing translations and to keep having interpretation of our calls because that feels important. And the online course will hopefully also be available to be facilitated in all of the sort of main languages of your regions, right? That's the idea of engaging the regions also in doing it. Suvi.
Yeah, thanks at first. It sounds really beautiful and interesting, the project. I would like to ask, last time we had like I think every third week we had meetings very regularly. So is there also plan to have some kind of regularity, or is it dependent on like what working groups you are involved, or can you say, or do you already know how much it will involve, like for a participant to take part on these calls? If you got me right.
I think I got you, and I can only give you like my guess because that's part of what we haven't really designed. So I think there will be a regular rhythm of our shared calls together, but maybe less frequently. So not every 3 weeks because we are not doing the same things. Maybe it's a little bit more apart. So we come together, everybody, and then it probably depends a little bit on how we choose in the groups to shape the work. Some of it might, yeah, I have no idea there. So it will be up for a little co-creation. I think probably a step in the new year will be those who are interested in a particular strand of work to maybe even meet and talk a little bit about this is what would work or what excites me about this strand and how we can do it together. That's all I know. We have the same question. Tanya.
I love how this fits with the IPCC 6th mitigation report that had Findhorn on the front. And Albert Bates wrote in his summary, you know, we need more experimental communities. And so I love that. And what it makes me think about is that each of us perhaps being ambassadors and how important it is to speak locally about the projects, and whether or not that may also be some kind of a mini project developing ambassadors to be presenting, and maybe even having a template presentation that we might do. Just a thought, but it feels to me that that may well be a way of expanding and tying that in as well with the sustainable and regenerative incomes. So just a thought. And I'm loving your work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of all of us here, nodding, nodding, nodding.
Thank you, Tanya. Love your enthusiasm always. That's a really good idea. And, you know, a big sort of aim of this project is to support you to step out like into your regions and into your places as voices for community-led resilience and holistic responses, right? So that's like from heart and spirit, like all the way to how we design our sewage systems, you know, which is what being an eco-villager is often. So that's really part of it. Like, how can we support you and your community to become a kind of nexus and hub of resilience in your region, somewhere where people come to learn, or where people know, like, wow, they really know how to do these things. I'm sure you remember that kind of that bioregional element of resilience showed up as really important. You know, we had some beautiful stories of how you had already started to engage with your neighbors around. So that really is a point. And the local activities, which I will not show you the slides now, but I'll send you all the information, really is also meant to take that step out. So how can we work outside of just like our eco-village, but also work with other communities or other stakeholders and people in our regions, whether that's, you know, your mayor or you know, other local organizations who are working towards similar aims, but just kind of widening that web a little bit and helping you network where you are. Kofi Nkoto?
Ok, merci beaucoup, Simon. J'ai trouvé la présentation assez intéressante avec des projets qui sont vraiment assez nourris et que nous attendons vraiment les voir se développer cette année. Et je vois que par rapport au projet qu'on a fait l'année dernière, c'est les projets de cette année ou bien qui vont commencer bientôt sont plus dans le concret et révèlent tout ce que révélera tout ce que les éco-villages font et leur contribution en matière de résilience et de conservation de la nature. Pour ce qui nous concerne, nous le disons parce que nous n'avons pas assez de moyens pour partager les atouts dont dispose notre communauté en termes de conservation de la nature. Notre communauté a eu le prix Équateur en 2012 à Rio de Janeiro. Et l'année prochaine, il se peut que la prochaine COP se déroule encore au Brésil. Et après avoir eu ce prix Équateur en 2012 à Rio de Janeiro, ça nous plairait de montrer ce que notre communauté a pu faire jusqu'alors. Mais si à travers ce projet, on a assez de soutien pour vraiment montrer ce que nous avons pu faire, ce serait pour nous un plaisir parce que nous le disons, on a assez de potentialité en termes de ressources naturelles que la communauté essaie de conserver. Et nous sommes une communauté autochtone qui a conservé les valeurs traditionnelles séculaires et que nous aimerons vraiment partager avec le monde entier. Donc, voilà un peu ce que je voulais ajouter.
Thank you, Kofi, I mean, so much. And yeah, I feel like I was very inspired by your stories and the knowledge of your community in the previous project. And that's part of why there is now a space for traditional and indigenous communities. And we put more resource to really hear and lift these stories within our network and beyond the network, because it feels really crucial. So we'll hopefully be able to hold that group facilitated in a way that makes sense. And again, for the group itself to decide where they want to meet, because maybe you guys want to go to Rio or to the COP in Brazil instead, or whatever. So, but thank you so much. And you're right that in a way it is more concrete. It's kind of, we examined our resilience in the previous project, and we learned things that eco-villages do really well and things where we have a lot of gaps. And many of the things in this project are trying to also build capacity where we maybe were not so good, but really building on the things that were very strong. So it's there as a kind of follow-up from the things we learned, but it's more like putting in place new things rather than asking ourselves and looking at, and kind of making an inquiry in that sense. Great. Should we have maybe one more question if there is one? So if not, then I'm going to say this. I was going to Kati and Lorena and Noah, or maybe just Lorena and Noah.
Yeah. I just have a tiny little understanding question. Like the themes of the working groups are the subgroups are not established yet. Is that right?
They are, although there might be more. But so within the project, we have these 5 things that we kind of promised that we would create resources in, and the working groups is part of doing that.
And can you mention briefly what the subtopics are?
So one is learning better how to use art and story and narrative to weave resilience and to also recover from crisis. So what's the art, what's the place of culture and cultural expression in resilience and disaster recovery? And the other, they're based on places where we saw in the past project that we were maybe needing a little bit more skills. One has to do with how we can understand the really big things of global tipping points or polycrisis or climate change scenarios in our local places in a way that helps us take wise action. So it's like looking at, maybe it's like workshop tools for doing future scenarios or for helping people to really see what it will mean like in their home, right? So that's kind of one stream, exploring that. Another is co-creating early warning systems. So how can we know before it's too late? Like how can we in our communities have ways of monitoring our surroundings, our social health, maybe our inner emotional, but also our social ecological and our ecological health, so that we can catch when something is going to happen early. Like the floods that were in Spain like a few months ago. There was so much conflict afterwards because the early warning systems had been taken down by the previous government. So the communities didn't have like warning that something was coming. So imagine if communities like that everywhere could have their own systems where they could kind of know, right? The next one is how can we be better prepared? So like what does it look like to be prepared as eco-villages with solidarity internally, externally, and solidarity with nature? How do we respond to disaster when they happen, like from that kind of perspective of Keystone Communities? And I'm forgetting one. I feel like there's one more. There will also be then working groups for, the people who are doing trainings or local activities and that, but like those are kind of the streams where we are producing or co-creating resources. Happy to send you a little bit more on that also.
Thank you.
Where was I? Yes, there's something I want to say before we finish, which is very soon. So we're going to send you a follow-up email, which will have more details about local trainings. Yeah. So that you can start thinking about what you want to do. I know many of you said you want to do trainings. So we'll just put it out there, and it's no rush. We're going to come back to it. There are going to be more opportunities to talk about it and ask questions. But we wanted to just give you more information and give you a chance to like tell us your ideas. So there'll be like a little form where you can kind of tell us what's happening and what you want to do and the budget you need. That will be open until February, right? So we're going to meet again and there will be more info. And we'll do the same with information about the online course. So the only thing I can say, because we have been very unavailable, so we have not met with our wonderful regional representatives. Thanks, Carla, for nudging us the other day. But the idea is, like I said, to run the online course with regional cohorts, so facilitated by people from the regions, including like some of you from the community practice, if you want to engage, to really help share and spread it. And we hope to launch that as soon as possible and to run it for free for members of GEN, right? So it's a way of really spreading the word, but also inviting more people into the work that we're doing. So those are kind of the next things that we'll send you a little bit more info on as we kind of have them. Adam Ronald.
Yeah, just a small question. Regions, are those like continents or what kind of scale?
Yeah, now when I say regions, I really mean the GEN regions. So that's like GEN Europe, GEN Africa, Casa Latina, GENA, and GENOA. Yeah. When you run your own trainings, I'll say that you will have access to the full online course to use as you want with your participants. You can choose to run an in-person course or a blended course or your own online course. I know you were interested in doing something for the Netherlands, like Ecovillage Network, for example. So you're very welcome to do it like that. So you'll have access to the online course, all of the course materials, and all of the things we did in the previous projects, as well as like mentoring from the team and the support of that working group. So there's still there. So your own trainings can also leverage all of that. We just thought it would be really cool to also gather in the actual GEN regions and also build that level of our network a little bit. We're 3 minutes from finishing, so I should probably stop there. Like I said, we still have many questions and many things are co-created with you, because we also felt like we don't have to be fully ready with everything to come to you, because now you're like our friends and our collaborators. So the hosting feels really different. So that's why we are not quite like sure, but we are very sure that together we will find some amazing pathways and ways of collaborating in the future. And if you have questions like that pop up, like, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. You reach Abby and myself through the resilience email. We can plop it in the chat. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, we are bringing on board 2 new team members. I forgot, who are not here today. First of all, we are being joined by Sarah Kiblatin, who is from the Philippines. She's long-term active in Genoa, and she is really an expert in art, story, and narrative, traditional and indigenous communities, and disaster response and recovery. So she has a long list of amazing things that she has done and is very skilled and knowledgeable there. So she's coming on board, and then we are hoping to have another facilitator for a traditional community space where we are still talking to somebody. So we'll wait with announcing until we're done talking with the person, but that's it. So we are expanding our geographical reach and our skills in the core team a little bit to be able to support you better. That was the last I want to say, but I think they will be nice additions to our team. And Louis, I'm going to hand over to you.
All right. Thank you, Anna. Well, I guess it's time for a checkout because there are so many things, as Anna said, that we could still explore. But I think this is what awaits us in the new year to then really give shape to that together. And for me, it also really feels important that we hear your voices so that it really makes sense to your context, to your current needs, questions, and the situations on the ground. Yeah, because this work needs so much adaptivity in a way. And as you said, Margarita, next year is, from what I gather, I just come back from 2 COPs, a big year on multiple levels, including that one, and to really strengthen our collaboration and learn from each other, build upon each other, and yeah, create these working streams that are really meaningful, I think is, yeah. I so look forward first to rest a little bit, but then to dive in and give shape to that. So maybe as a checkout question for the ones who have to run, please maybe share it in the chat, and maybe others are happy to share a few words of one thing that you're taking away from today, or from this little moment together as a way of closing this year, closing this call, and kind of waving across to the new year for what's to come. And please just unmute if you want to share it, and otherwise feel free also to write it in the chat.
Just a sense of reconnection and huge gratitude and excitement. Thank you.
I would like to say, yeah, feeling deeply grateful and honored. So thank you all for hosting, your hosting capacity.
Well, Ronald here, I feel very comfortably contained by all of you.
And I'm as excited as I started this meeting. I'm as excited for the next 2 years.
And I'm curious as we started out and a little bit disoriented because I have not yet completely grasped how it will be, but I think that's normal.
I feel excited, and I feel I have to work with my schedule so that I have full possibility to take part on this, to make everything fit for the coming years.
I feel really excited for the co-creation because it feels more open than it was before. And I also want to let you know that we're making another coda for this project where, again, all of the details and the ways of participating and all the different streams and links will be there. We're just not quite there yet, as with many other things.
Well, thank you, everybody, and so nice to be in this circle, and I'm looking forward to understand better, you know, how to participate and how to get more involved in all this. Thank you for the moment.
Yeah, and thanks for the new people who joined us today. You know, the call was not really like shaped for you, so just really thankful to have you here, and it's super nice to receive you.
Also feeling really enthusiastic and for this new phase of the project, and also for where that could get, and for many people that can expand out of the circle we are getting now.
Oui. Non, c'est comment on intervient directement. Oui. Merci. Nous sommes ravis de participer à cette session. La question plutôt que moi je voulais poser, ce sera que quand la prochaine, on aura les détails forcément pour mieux appréhender les contours des activités que nous allons mener. Donc, notre engagement est entier et nous pensons qu'on sera là bientôt. Merci.
Ok, merci, merci Anna, merci pour le travail très formidable que vous avez présenté aujourd'hui. On espère que nous allons plus nous impliquer cette année plus qu'avant. Merci à tous et bonne et heureuse année au cas où on ne se voit pas avant la prochaine réunion.
And I'm really happy we reconnected, and it feels in a way important that it happened, even if it was a bit like feeling we are not so ready that it happened this year, as a way of bridging what we have landed this year together in July, August into the next year, and really kind of giving some water to these seeds that have been sown. Yeah, and it warms my heart to see you all, honestly. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be in touch with more and see you next year. Happy holidays and New Year.